All right. Tell you what, I think we've got enough on the line. We'll go ahead and get started. And and I would like to start with a word of prayer. If everyone would pray with me. Father, we thank you for this Monday morning, this start to a new week here in Natchez, Adams County. And Father, we thank you for everyone on this call. And we thank you for all the work that's going on in our community right now to make it a better community. Be with us now as we have this meeting. All of those who have personal needs, who have been dealing with illness or dealing with loss, just be with them in a special way. And Father, we just give you all the honor and the glory and the praise. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Well, good morning, everyone. Some of you may have already been on the call, but here we are now with our Naedc meeting. This is a virtual meeting today, but all indications are that everybody who's been dealing with this virus in one way or another is soon going to be out of quarantine and soon to be on their way to normalcy again. So this will be a virtual meeting today, but in 2 weeks, get ready. We will be having our in-person meetings again. The plate has been real full. We've been getting a lot done. A lot's going on. And during my quarantine, it's actually been a blessing. We've been able to focus in on our budget. The budget is balanced. The budget has been passed for the coming year, and we are working on an amended budget for the current year, which ends in just a couple of weeks. But I just want to say this: the state of city finances is very good. We not only are going to have a balanced budget for the coming year, but our budget is in balance for this current year, and we anticipate that we will have a budget surplus. So things are going well in the city. Also, want to say with regard to some economic development projects, we are excited. We understand that houses are selling, that people are moving in, that people are getting permits, opening businesses. We understand that there may be 2 or 3 restaurants to be announced soon, either reopenings or new ones. We understand we do have a new rehabilitation clinic that opened recently. We have new gift stores opening. We also, this is exciting, we have been meeting with a medical company to open some new medical clinics in Natchez. And we had our 3rd meeting with them Thursday. These would be dedicated clinics for employees of self-insured employers. And also, it would be open to some who are on the state health plan and on Medicaid. And the company is Vigilant Health. They are already have a presence in Vicksburg, have been working with the city of Vicksburg there. And so we're excited now to see them wanting to establish a presence in Natchez, Adams County. It's part of our Natchez strategy, medical economic development, and bringing medical jobs into our area and creating a healthcare hub. We have been working with Natchez Inc. on that, and we'll get to Natchez Inc. shortly. There's several things that we're working with Natchez Inc. on, and we'll get to those shortly. In addition to that, we had a meeting with a consultant regarding a brownfield grant to help begin the cleanup process at the old tire plant, and also in the vicinity of the MLK Triangle. That's exciting. We hope that we might have a chance at getting that, and people are actually in town this week looking at that old tire plant and assisting in that effort. In addition to that project, let me just say this: the city's partnering with the county on that grant application. And Dr. Sandra Barnes, I don't know if you're on the line, we had a good talk Friday, and we're working toward having Colin involved in that effort with us as well. and we'll discuss that in a minute. And talking about economic development, the city has applied for a very nice grant, $300,000 plus, that would create an entertainment district on Commerce Street in the vicinity of Franklin and Main, and this is through NDOT, Mississippi Department of Transportation. So we're excited about that grant and what it can do to bring about ADA accessibility in that area and some upgrades to power and lighting. And ultimately, we'd like to see the perfect environment for someone to renovate the old Ritz location, keeping the old front, but perhaps doing an open air type venue inside that area that was the old Ritz Theater on Commerce Street. Now, in addition to all of that, we have been sending word to local musicians that we would like to see a culture of music growing in downtown Natchez. The idea being that we actually have a lot of people visiting from New Orleans, possibly considering relocating to Natchez. We'd like for them to have that New Orleans feel. And rather than go through the cumbersome process of getting an ordinance in place, having street musicians having to get permitted, having to pay money to do that, and then being subject to city taxes, we'd rather see this done as just a very easy transaction between a street performer and a downtown merchant. And we had a talk with Brown at the coffee company just a few weeks ago, and she said she'd be willing to feed these performers and give them drinks, provided that they would just set up in front of her business and play for tips. So there's an opportunity now for street musicians downtown, and we'd like to see this happening. We do some other businesses downtown. We'd love to see this happening in the vicinity of Cotton Alley, Biscuits and Blues, Regina's Kitchen, even Under the Hill. And so just know that that is something we're interested in seeing happen. And anyone who knows street musicians around town, tell them here's an opportunity. I'm going to say one more thing, and then we'll move around for reports. But Friday, we spent a lot of time on the phone talking about tourism. And we are expecting that October is going to be a big month for us. The balloon race is going on as planned, obviously a little bit curtailed with regard to the public events. There will be social distancing. Won't be as many large events as in the past, but we will have things going on, and rooms are already filling up. We also have had full weekends the last several weekends, yes. And so it's important that we make sure we're ready for guests. At the Visitor Center, because of the transition from city to federal ownership, we have lacked a city presence there. Well, we have the city presence. Our city desk is still there, but we haven't been selling tickets. So Saturday, actually Friday and Saturday, we worked on some plans to get ticket sales going again at the Visitor Center, and hopefully by this weekend. These ticket sales will be managed by Anna Byrne and the staff there at the city desk. And we are going to sell for anyone who would like for us to sell their tickets. Now, this is a temporary scenario because in early 2021, the Federal Park Service will put out an RFP for a ticket sales vendor to take over ticket sales at the Visitor Center. But we wanted to make sure that visitors have a good experience now. And we are also working with the State Welcome Center office in seeing that tarps can be removed from displays at the Visitor Center and instead signage postage. Under COVID regulations, people can't just get the brochures on their own. They have to have employee assistance. And it has created a less than desirable visitor experience in our visitor center. So I just want everyone to know that we're addressing that. And we're hoping that this week we'll see a change and see an improvement in that regard. So that's my report for now. I know we have a number of people on the line. John Norris, I know you're on the line. Let me say we had a discussion this morning with our city attorney, Brian Calloway, to get an update on the project for the depot on the bluff. We're hoping that the city, that our attorney will be working with the attorney for you, John, for Tate on that project to make sure that everything's done to start proceeding with that project. And so, John, that said, I'd like to just turn it over to you and ask you for a report this morning. John?
John, you're muted. If you could unmute your phone or your computer, whichever one you're using.
Okay. John, we can come back to you. While we're figuring that out, let me see if Chandler Russ is on the line. Chandler? Chandler, are you on the line? I don't hear Chandler. These virtual meetings are just kind of strange. Does everyone hear me? Do we have people on the call?
You're on, Mayor. Yeah, he's not on the call. I don't have anybody from Natchez Inc.
Okay. Well, I'm going to then provide a little report. We've been meeting a lot with Natchez Inc., and we actually had a meeting with them Thursday with regard to Natchez. A grant for a market study has been established that would pay $60,000 to a professional to do a medical market analysis. We're working on that. Also, the governor will be in town next Monday, along with Congressman Guest, and there will be a big announcement at 11 for the new industry coming into downtown Natchez. It's a new business. The expected employment will be 200 plus. So that's an exciting announcement on our plate. And also, we are working on a remote worker program. Hope to have that finalized by next board meeting next week. We want to be the first city to roll that out. It will provide $6,000 as an incentive to any individual purchasing at least $150,000 in real estate and setting up here in Natchez as a remote worker. And so people who telecommute, work from home, during this new economy we have, we expect to see some good growth there. We have worked with Visit Natchez. Visit Natchez has money available through the CARES Act for promoting Natchez in areas such as this. So there will be an ad campaign going along with this remote worker program. So those are just a few things on behalf of Natchez Inc. We are actually meeting this afternoon, and I will relay to Chandler anything that comes out of this meeting today. Now, with that said, we can hold questions until the end of the call. Do we have John able to speak now? John Norris? Well, I know
Mayor
Debbie
Gibson.
Hudson's on. Yes?
This is Chesney. I did have a little update of interest about the depot.
Okay, Chesney, thank you.
Sure, which is that a group of Trinity alumni have been looking for a project to which they could devote their energies and efforts. And the idea of coming together to help fund the steps that lead down from the public trail to the back of the depot has been floated and met with some enthusiasm. And so I discussed it with John Norris, and he said they would be all for that. So the next step would be to discuss it with the city and see what
Hey
we
guys,
could
and
work out.
I'm here. I'm sorry I was muted. I was having some technical issues, but I figured it out.
Oh, that's all right, John. Chesney was just giving us an update on Trinity's interest, and that is exciting. And developing the area behind the depot to connect to the trail. John, Chesney, I tell you what, we'll come back to you in a moment. Since
That's
John's
fine.
on the
That's
phone,
all
we'll
there
let
is. We can
we'll
pick
let
up
John
on that.
continue.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Oh, well, gosh, far be it for me to want to interrupt Chesney. She's got so many incredible things happening, and she's always been such a, a supporter of the downtown Natchez plan, which we are, really trying to fit into. And, our vision for that whole Broadway entertainment district downtown is resonating, I feel like, with, a lot of the people who are trying to increase that activity down there. So the depot, we've been working closely with, Department of Archives, and we've got Mingo coming down this week to work with John Weaver. We've been meeting there a bunch, and in terms of that concept and how we fit into the historic plan for that building, and then incorporate that parking lot, which has been a dead space, and kind of reopen that and get back to carnivals and blues bands and movies on the bluff and all of that. But it is coming together well, and John Weaver has been super helpful, and so is Chesney and Chandler and everyone else regarding the plan for the depot that makes the most sense in terms of what parts of the depot are going to be building improvements and stay lasting with the depot, and the fall a little bit outside of what the restaurant and the actual business that's going to be there. And we're going to have we're preparing to have a really open conversation with the city and the partners and the attorneys about what we're going to try to raise money from the public sector, meaning the state, for contributing to the public bathrooms that will be there and accessible and open even when the restaurant is not. The brickwork that Chesney was talking about in terms of Trinity coming together with the steps and that landscaping in the back and a few other things, and then the HVAC and some of the details. And just know that our goal in that conversation is not to gouge the city during a time of pandemic, but to really put our heads together with you guys and figure out what is the best plan for the city and what is the plan that makes the most financial sense. And then Tate and I, and our partners will bear the burden and the expense of the things that we really need to, and ultimately, we'll make sure that this gets open. But I want to have a good conversation about the kind of things the city has hoped for in the past and how we go about finding city, state, and federal money to contribute in ways that just make sense. So we're preparing for that with John and Rico and Chesney and Chandler, everybody else, to have a very, very open conversation about that. We're hoping to have something to show to you guys very soon, like in a matter of 1 or 2 weeks. And then we are I hopefully we'll have a conversation with Brian this week and Grayson, our attorney, regarding that lease and just kind of buttoning that up and getting it done. But our hope is to be in construction very, very soon. We're putting together a plan for Smoots and a Little Easy as well. I think you guys may know we're going to be hosting Y'all Means All, using a combination of Smoots, High Street, the Budweiser, and the Bluff. Very COVID safe, and we want that to sort of kick off our season of events on the Bluff, and more on that later. But other than that, with the depot, and the fact, just in terms of Budweiser, we've got that John Wells pilot coming back to us, the Morgan Freeman TV show, And then there's another movie that wants to shoot here, Cassian Elois and Aaron Eckhart, to come and shoot all through, now until the month of January. So we're working really hard on that as part of the plan coming out of COVID, being very accelerated with the work and the performance of activity on the bluff. So I'm totally open to questions and always available by email too, if anyone wants to have a side conversation regarding that. So any questions or anything standing out that I need to address?
John, I tell you, I think you've covered it. We're excited, and obviously we're here to work with you any way we can. Very appreciative, very grateful.
Absolutely. Chesney, you're up.
Chesney.
Thanks. I didn't really have anything to add. I was just tossing out that the several of the most active Trinity alumni had come together and thought that they were looking for something to do on the bluff, and so this idea of private fundraising to help fund those steps that lead down to the depot patio seems to be resonating with a number of people. So we'll have some follow-up conversations with John's company and the city and see how we can make that work. Maybe it should happen through the Community Alliance like the original Trails project did. So that's really
Right.
it. Thank you, John. That's
Okay,
all.
Chesney, I will say this. We're excited that we do have funding for the Downtown Natchez Alliance in the budget. And
Yes,
we are
thank you.
proceeding with implementation of some really great components of the master plan. And so the bluff being one of them. Also, I mentioned earlier, Brownfield, that grant application not only has to do with the power plant, but it also has to do with a cleanup there at MLK Triangle that would then start a process of beautification of that area. And so excited about the prospects there for that historic area and those historic businesses and the really neat service station there and Zion Chapel and all that we have in that area. So just a lot of good things going on, Chesney.
Yes, and Mayor Gibson, I want to officially again thank you for making the historic downtown Natchez and the master plan a priority, and for all the support that you and the aldermen are showing, and good things will happen. Thank you.
They will. Thank you. And so with that said, now I have something I want to throw out with regard to the bluff, and this is a perfect segue into having Debbie Hudson come on the line. I had quite a meeting with Kathleen Bond on Friday, and we were talking about Christmas decorations and all, and then over the weekend had a talk with Melinda Kent, and it's my understanding that the IP decorations are being relocated this year to the bluff and to the area down near where the pecan factory was. And Debbie, I'll let you speak to this in a minute because it's part of our Christmas in Natchez. But Melinda brought it to my attention that we don't have, and I think we already, all of us knew this, but we just don't have the sufficient electricity on the bluff for things like this. And that north area of the bluff really needs power. And so the price tag for that is, I'm told, just shy of $40,000. So we've got to start looking for some money. We've got to find ways to get ample power on the bluff, because that field where the old pecan factory was, that is a perfect site for outdoor events, but we need power there. So I'm just throwing that out as an issue that came up over the weekend, and we need to really discuss it and talk about ways to find that money. Debbie, I didn't mean to just step on your report. You may have a totally different direction, but I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, Mayor Gibson, if I could just interject just quickly on
Sure,
that thought
John,
about
yeah.
the north part of the bluff. We agree with you about that. And, our goal ultimately is, we've been working with Mimi and Tate has a plan to paint a beautiful mural on that Budweiser building and do some beautification down there. But if we could start thinking about the bluff in terms of how it looks down by the bandstand with the gasoliers and the park benches, and just sort of philosophically think about bringing that all the way down to the north part of the bluff in terms of the beautification. We are already working with John Weaver and Damien on a plan to create electrical pods through the parking lot and the 3 acres of that land that's there that connects to the north. So maybe there's a way for us to create some synergy in terms of a state grant or some. We'll get Nathan on thinking about that, and then partnering with the city in such a way that we're not building, 2 trenches or building anything. That will just create some synergy and figure out how to co-finance that, so that electricity is going to that whole thing for all the events that we hope and believe that will, ultimately be on that bluff. So I'm looking forward to cooperating with that.
And
John, that's exciting.
I'll jump in for a second. The quote that we had from Justin Dollar for the lighting of the pecan factory site for the electricity was $120,000. And that did not include installing a water source. And that's a figure that we gave to Natchez Inc. for the pooled bond. That was in the downtown list for the pooled bond that Natchez Inc. is working on, but $120,000 was Justin's estimate for the electrification, the electrical pedestals.
Okay. Sounds like a meeting on this issue is in our future. So we need to make sure we have this meeting soon. Thank you. Very good.
Now, do you want
Debbie?
me? Yes.
Debbie, we've been all waiting, anticipating, and we are so glad you're doing well and you've been back in the saddle. Great.
Oh, definitely.
Great.
Didn't have a choice, but I guess I did, but I'm doing great. Thanks. Let me start, and then I'll get to the bluff, and I'll get to entertainment, and I'll get to electricity. My first thing is this weekend, we have over 100 bike riders signed up. We anticipate hopefully another 75. We're looking at around 200 plus bike riders. That 80% of these people come from somewhere else. They're coming everywhere from Houston to Memphis, and we're really excited. And we hope this builds to something in the future, like our balloon festival type of thing, and it helps. This is all done by young professionals and Curtis Maroney and me. But anyway, it's to bring economic development to the community. After they ride Saturday, it's 2:30. They have time to go and enjoy our restaurants and everything and all our businesses. Friday night, they'll be spending the night here. So we're real excited. So that's my first thing. All right, now to my second. Young professionals, along with several other groups, are doing live at 5. That's Sarah Lindsay Lockoff spearheaded this. So for 4 Fridays in October, we will have entertainment on the bluff. This is kind of starting what you talked about on commerce, which is great. And anyway, the list of those will be on Facebook. I know she has them. I don't have those, but I think that's great, from 5 to 7. And the first one that she does will be the night of the balloon festival. So they coordinated all those efforts. So yay. I love when we do Team Natchez together. That makes my heart sing. All right, now on Christmas in Natchez and what we've had over the last 11 years, we have had events on the bluff in the green space. We had an ice skating rink, so obviously we at one point had some electricity where we need it. When they took all the poles down under Butch's administration, there were talks about how to have electricity there, and your first person that you have got to include is Tim Runnels. I talk to Tim all the time about all the different things for Christmas in Natchez. Yes, I'm on that committee too. And anyway, that conversation needs to be had, yes, for everybody and everything. This is a great time to do it. What we're going to do for Christmas, we're working on that. We think we can make some things happen that we want to. We're going to have a lot of lighting down there, along with the IP decorations that we did have to move from the Visit Natchez site. So there's everything I know.
Well, I think you know a lot more than that, Debbie. I think you're just you're wonderful. That's an exciting.
No. Yes.
Those are exciting reports. I'm excited about the bikers coming in. What a great thing, and the music at the bandstand and Christmas. There are just so many good things to look forward to. So thank you. So I tell you what, we will have a meeting soon. It'll be open to anyone, but let's have a meeting soon to talk about these specific issues regarding lighting, power on the bluff. And I really love what John suggested, and that is that we use this as an opportunity to take that whole ambiance that we have down near the bandstand and incorporate that on the north end of the bluff. I just think that's a great suggestion, John. And by the way, I'm excited that everybody has started calling it the bandstand. It is not a gazebo any longer.
We learned our lesson last week, Mayor.
That's exciting. I want to speak to the word synergy that you used a minute ago, John, and then what you just said, Debbie, Team Natchez. What we are seeing is unity, and it's exciting to see everyone coming together. The future of Natchez, I don't think it's been any brighter than it is right now, and this is an exciting call we're on right now, just hearing everyone, with all these good reports. I understand Chandler has joined the call, and Chandler, I made a brief report just a minute ago of Natchez Medical Economic Development, the grant for that, our work on behalf of getting this garage going on Franklin Street that will accommodate new vehicles for new employees, and the fact the governor's going to be here. I've already mentioned that, and I also mentioned the remote worker program we're working on. But Chandler, I didn't give any, details much. If you'd like to fill in a few lines there and add to it, I just want to say, Chandler, I'm excited the work relationship we have with Natchez Inc. And I know we're meeting this afternoon. We have a lot of things going on. So Chandler, we'd love to hear more from you.
Yeah, absolutely, Mayor, and thank you. And I apologize. We've got our MEDC virtual conference this week, and I'm president of MEDC, and so I've been tied up with that and trying to get off the call. And my apologies for being tardy. Anyway, with saying that, we are truly excited about our relationship with the city and the new administration, and it has just been fabulous, and I'm excited about the continued potential and working relationship there, and just want to thank you, Mayor, for all your hard work so far. I feel like you've been in there for a while already, and it's only been about a month and a half, maybe.
I feel like I've been in there a while too, Chandler. Thank you, though. I'm loving working with you guys.
Well, we ultimately we're we're really excited. I know you mentioned the event for this Monday at 11 o'clock. We'll have a major economic development announcement at the convention center, which I think you mentioned. It is because of our COVID environment. We're going to limit it to 100 people. We feel like that is something that is manageable, and we can remain safe in that in the convention center. Regarding that, it'll also be streamed live on Facebook on the Natchez Inc. Site. But the governor, Michael Guest, will be in attendance, as well as John Roundsville with MDA and company representatives there. So it's going to be a wonderful addition to downtown. It's going to be, the traffic, as well as the renovations and to the Regions facility, as well as the upgrades to the removal of the A&P building, as well as the parking lot update that will take place down there, is surely going to add a lot of traffic, a lot of people, and a lot of commerce into and an injection into downtown that is needed also. So the timing of everything is wonderful, and we continue to be excited about it. And so if you can attend, please do so. Like I said, we're sending out kind of electronic evites to elected officials and our business community, and then continuing to open it up from there. And so that again will take place 11 o'clock on the 21st at the Natchez Convention Center. So that's kind of the major news, I guess, the red meat of the afternoon of our report. And it sounds like you covered most of our other. We're excited to continue to be also with working with Greg Harper. The city and the county are working towards hiring a lobbyist, which is something that has been that I think that between he and former Congressman Greg Harper, as well as Manning McPhillips, should be a good addition to the city and the county's efforts and trying to secure additional much needed funding in both the state and federal levels. And so we're excited to be having them come on as team members and help us with those efforts. Our portfolio, just from ultimately, we still have about 12 active clients right now in this environment, and ranging from projects over $1 billion to much smaller projects of $5 or $6 million. And so it's the portfolio remains healthy and remains active, and it's definitely things that we're continuing to pursue and try to wrestle down during these times. I had a call coming in, and I hope I didn't end my. Could y'all hear what I said? Did I break up?
We heard you fine. We heard you just fine, Chairman.
I have a question, Chairman.
All right.
This is Chesney. Is the parking lot at the A&P, is that going to be a lot or a garage?
It is going to be a lot.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. And Chandler, I know we'll talk about some of these things in our meeting this afternoon. We're seeing some forward motion. And the remote worker program, I mentioned that to everyone earlier, that Natchez, Visit Natchez is going to be offering help with the funds that they've gotten under the CARES Act to advertise that for us. So this is a real good thing, and I believe, Chandler, we're going to be able to get that approved by the Board of Aldermen next week. We're going to have it on our agenda, and I believe you've already presented it to the county as well, haven't you?
I have, and it looks good in the county. I was just talking actually before this morning. I was talking with Ricky regarding it. He was asking some questions and some other things regarding it, just trying to kind of get our bearings for their approval also. But saying that, I don't know if you went into detail, and I think especially for John Norris, I think he was on the call earlier with his group, and those that they might be trying to bring in from outside. You know, the basic details for them and for that is that it's a $6,000. It's up to $6,000 credit. Up to $2,500 will be paid in relocation expenses, and then about $300 a month over a 12-month period. The two qualifying factors are basically a proof of employment from a firm outside the region, and the region is considered Adams County, Concordia, and the contiguous counties and parishes that touch that. So that would be the region area, and then at least a purchase of a property of $150,000 or greater. And the reason that has a caveat is that is how we can justify the expense of the $6,000 and the recouping of those incentive dollars back in property tax and sales tax back to the city. So basically, it's got about an 18-month payback to the city and/or county based on that model that's in place. But the ability to, John, for y'all's group that is looking to try to bring in some of your folks that might have employment, from other sources that are not necessarily in the region, that definitely is in play and available to y'all's group as well.
Do you know, Chandler, if that's retroactive? I was just thinking of Chef Ashley and his wife. They're looking for a place to buy in Natchez. They moved here, 2 months ago or so, but I just wonder if they would qualify.
Yeah, so the difficulty I think you're going to have there, John, with them is that, so are they going to be employed by Crooked Letter, or where's the company that actually is employing them domiciled? Is it here, or is it out of the area?
It's in Natchez. It's basically Smoots. It's the restaurant group that's titled under Smoots.
Yeah, so that in itself is probably going to be difficult because of that. So what we're targeting is those that are employed by groups outside the region, and so that has been a caveat of it. And so I don't know. I guess that's going to be pretty difficult with that one in particular. But so, for instance, if y'all had, I'm just giving you an example, if you had somebody from MGM that was relocating here, that was still employed by MGM, then, that would definitely be somebody that would be a target for that incentive. Or it doesn't have to be them. It can be, a lighting company or something like that. But that would be whom that would target better probably than Chef Ashley and them. So so just giving you some background with that. I know that was something that y'all were also looking into, and as an opportunity to get some of that. So.
Well, I tell you, it is, a remote worker program, but one thing that we've got to perfect very soon is a listing of all the benefits that are available to people who are willing to invest in real estate and renovate, especially historic real estate, because we have so many historic tax credits. And I have in mind a document that it would actually be a brochure that would assist in that. And perhaps in that area, John, your chef could find some benefits there. And I know that I personally have benefited from the tax programs for renovation of historic property here in Natchez, and that applies to a lot of our downtown property. We want to see a residential area develop downtown in some of these vacant buildings. And so those historic tax credits actually may provide way more of an incentive than the remote worker program. Just throwing that idea out. I know that I got enough tax benefit on one of my projects. It kind of helped defer my paying taxes for a while. It was a very good tax write-off. But I know you guys know way more about that than I do. Someone else is on the line. Yes?
Yeah, it's me, Jen Combs. Chesney.
Hey, Jen.
Chesney, Deb, and there was a lot of work that started back, and Chesney, correct me if I'm wrong, it was around the time that we all were real focused on the opportunity zone, that putting together, and I think Peyton Cabin did it, putting together resources that are available to incentivize development and investment in downtown in particular, and historic properties in particular. And that brochure you're talking about may already be in in some form developed.
That'd be great, Jen. Yeah.
Jen,
Chesney, I know we've talked about this. Yeah, Chesney.
I was just looking for that while you were talking, and then when Jennifer brought it up, we have a brochure that Peyton Cavan put together that is about opportunity zones and has other things listed. And then we have a broader document, incentives for investors, that Phil Walker put together.
Right, that's what I'm thinking of too.
Yeah, both of those.
Great.
Yeah, and this is Carter.
It'd be good if we could merge all. Yes, I'm listening.
I would say, yeah, we have an informational brochure just about historic tax credits in the city tax abatement program that we have been giving out to people as well. So we have all that information in one place as well.
The ones that we actually used were the ones that Carter's group did, Historic Natchez Foundation, and the one that Peyton did. Those are the two we were using when we brought the prospective investors into town last fall. And then the one that Phil did, we haven't used. It was an attempt to pull everything into a quick and dirty one sheet. That one has not been used.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is exciting. And yeah, Carter, I just appreciate everything the foundation has done. As I was just saying, y'all helped me. This is a great program. And I think this is the very program. And if we can pull all these into one master document, it's a real slick, nice looking brochure. And Jen, you just said it, may already have that. But I think this is a great way to incentivize individuals to bring new life to downtown buildings that are currently vacant. So let's explore that further. And also,
me again.
yes.
It's me again. Sorry, I'm just going to jump in while I've still got my phone
Yes,
off
Jen.
to figure out how to do it. I wanted to jump in about just two quick things. One, you guys will all notice, you men and women will all notice that Lindsay Smith has now joined our call. She is the interim director, began September 1st, so she will be on board these calls, and I'll be here at least through September. But I want to also mention, though, to just be about, the marketing funds that Visit Natchez and the NCPC might be able to use toward that remote worker program are likely not CARES Act money. Those funds are so incredibly restrictive between the U.S. Treasury, between the Department of Finance and Administration with the state, and all the guidelines that they have put on exactly how they can be used and what they cannot. We've got a 25-page U.S. grant agreement that was signed several weeks ago in order to get this money, and they are very clear about what's allowed and what's not. So that being said, I do know that Visit Natchez and the NCPC are very committed to helping to market the remote worker program, because it's something that we've really believed in for quite a while, as Chandler knows from some of the conversations we've had. So just, I would be cautious in saying, I've got another call with Manning this afternoon about some other things, and we'll run this, as well. But it's because there's some very restricted, not eligible uses, and they're very much, that House bill makes it about resuming tourism activities, while we have to have every single thing we put out has to have a Visit Natchez responsibly, Visit Mississippi responsibly, link to a COVID page. So there's and we had to submit a very comprehensive plan about a month ago of exactly where those dollars will be spent. We can't make changes to that without going to DFA and getting approval if they even allow it. That being said, as I just said, I know that the board is very supportive and wants to be involved and help market and promote and help fund marketing wherever the funds need to come from. So just wanted to kind of clarify that in particular for you and Chandler for your meeting.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Jen. Thank you. And I know right before my quarantine, we had a fantastic meeting with Lance, and we discussed this. So we'll just look forward to another meeting on that. Obviously, we can only do this within the guidelines, but we are very grateful for your willingness to help. Jen, we're very grateful for all you've done for Natchez over the years. Your great leadership during the tricentennial, and then that led into your becoming interim director and then full-time director for Visit Natchez. Jen, we are very sad that your retirement from Visit Natchez is coming in just a couple weeks, and I just wanted to make mention of that on the phone. Just at some point, we've got to do something to really show our appreciation to you. I just want you to know we appreciate all that you've done for Natchez, Adams County.
Thank you, Dan. I'm super excited about where things are going. I think this is just an incredibly exciting time for Natchez and Adams County. I think with all the new energy, creative energy, the commitment on a unified level is just tremendously exciting. So I'm not going anywhere, just saying. I may not be sitting at this desk, but things are really exciting, I think, and I'm looking forward to being a part of that. So thanks.
Good. And Lindsay, we look forward to working with you as the interim director and are here to assist you in any way we can.
Thank you. I'm excited. Thanks.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
It's Alderman Frazier.
Alderman Frazier, hello.
I'm doing fine. Mr. Mayor, I've been sitting here listening to everyone report, which I think we have a lot of great ideas, and we're trying to move Natchez forward, and everybody's trying to move Natchez forward. But my deepest concern is I didn't hear anyone reach out to the black community and what can the black community do and what they're gonna do for the black community. That's my concern.
Yes,
Mayor.
yes.
Alderman
Frazier, I would say I could give you several reports, and we'll be happy to. But you've got the floor. We're listening to you, Alderman Frazier.
Yes, like I was just saying, that is my only concern. We have a little inclusion in these plans, and what I can hear, I didn't hear no inclusion of the black community. So that is what I'm deeply concerned. But all the plans that everybody did, I think they are super plans. They are good for the Natchez, and anything that we do, we need to do it as a group. And these ideas that you and the present administration we got now, and also these people on the phone that speak, they are very, very good ideas, and I am for it. But like I say, I'm just worried about what the black community. So we need some inclusion. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Mayor Gibson, can I chime in for a second on that?
Well, certainly. Who is this?
This is John Norris.
Hey, John. Yes.
Alderman Frazier, as you may know, obviously we've been working with Chesney and with Mayor Gibson and all the folks that we have been talking to throughout the process in the Broadway Entertainment District that we are calling. We are working towards a diversity mandate. We are working towards making sure that bluff in that district feels comfortable for African Americans, for the Black community, and for including diversity in our hiring practices and our staff and our workforce training program that we're establishing with Co-Lin for the restaurant group and the hospitality, as well as our films. And both Tate and I want you to know, as Mayor Gibson and the other folks that we've been talking to and working with, that diversity is a key component of all of our economic development, and our hope and our goal is to make the Bluff, bring families to the Bluff. That includes all families. So I appreciate you bringing up that sentiment and discussing it, because I think everyone on this call shares your views.
John,
thank you.
I thank you very much, John. I think, as you say, this is a very healthy conversation, and I just felt I just need to bring this up, and it's very helpful for the community and the people on this forum. But I would ask you this question: who have you reached out to, or when are you going to reach out to some of the community leaders in the Black community?
We have already done. Yes, we've already begun doing that, not only through former Mayor Darrell, but now in the new administration with our new mayor, and also our team, including our African-American chef from Jackson, our 2 African-American chefs in hospitality that we hired for Smoots, Kiwan and his wife Jessica. So we are continuing to make inroads into the Black community and continuing the process of hiring and developing a workforce training. Almost all of our interns at Film Natchez have been from the African-American community, from high school all the way through college. So in our education, our workforce training, and our hiring practices, diversity is one of the cornerstones.
Thank you, John. I'd like to share something very exciting. We mentioned a little of this at the beginning of this meeting when I gave my report. But we said that we met with a consultant last week, Trey Hess, on the application for the Brownfield grant. I know, Alderman Frazier, you've worked with Mr. Hess in the past, and we're working with him now, trying to get funds to help get the plan going for a cleanup there at the Titan Tire facility, but also that would include funds for a cleanup at the MLK Triangle. And we said at the very beginning of the call, we're excited about the component of our downtown plan that involves a beautification of that historic area at the MLK Triangle to start with, cleaning up those underground tanks that are there. But also, I spent a good bit of time Friday afternoon with Kathleen Bond, and we were talking about the Forks of the Road project. And people on this call may not know this, but there are currently over 400 projects in line for federal funding through the Department of Interior. And our Forks of the Road project is number 11 on that list of over 400. And so after talking to Kathleen Bond about this Friday, I then got our soon-to-be lobbyist, former Congressman Greg Harper, on the phone, and we have already enlisted Congressman Harper's help in getting Forks of the Road on the list for funding to establish a national park there. And Friday afternoon, we went over the plat, looking at the various properties in that location. Some are city properties, some are private properties, and we've identified a budget of about $400,000 that's necessary to get the properties and establish the boundaries of this new park, and to begin creating the plan that will lead to a really great experience. One of the most important components of this new park at Forks of the Road is going to be a contemplated trail that leads from the historic bridge that's still there along the old Washington Road bed. Back in the days, it was such a horrible thing. They would walk enslaved African Americans. They would walk them all through the South, from even the Carolinas, on foot along the trace. They would make their walk into Natchez, across that historic bridge, in that old roadbed of the old Washington Road, and then they would arrive at the Forks of the Road site, which at that time, sadly, was the second largest slave market in the United States. And so it is our desire to see that dedicated as a national park, and where a visitor could have a contemplative experience of actually walking in that same path. That's a very important mission. We also have been having meetings with Robert Purnell, and our community liaison, Brian Marvel, is working with Mr. Purnell, because Natchez is not on the Civil Rights Trail, and significant civil rights history is here. So we're working on plans to incorporate Natchez as part of the Civil Rights Trail. And in addition to that, I had just a little communication with Jeremy Houston this weekend, and I told Jeremy we are resuming ticket sales at the Visitor Center this coming weekend. We are going to, Anna Byrne and her staff will begin selling tickets again. And I asked Jeremy if he would like to be included in those ticket sales, and he said he would. And so Anna's supposed to be getting with him. And along that same note, I had a discussion with Brian Marvel first thing this morning about our desire to continue the conversation, Alderman Frazier, that we had just about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4, where we got everyone together talking about the need for diversity in tourism. And so Brian actually met with Linda Smith at the Natchez Pilgrimage Tours office this morning to discuss how we can continue the process of having this discussion, and we are planning on another meeting soon. My being quarantined, I'm now in my 4th week of quarantine. That's put a little damper on this, but my quarantine will be over the end of this week, thank goodness. And Brian, I think you're on the line, and you had a public service announcement, because we've been working on mask giveaways, we've been working on the census, some other things, in addition to your meeting with Linda this morning on diversity and tourism. Brian, would you like to make a brief report? Brian, are you on the line? Well, I don't know, but we'll come back to Brian. Are you on the line? Alderman Frazier, yes, sir.
Yeah, I would like to say this. I want to thank you for your endeavors on trying to get this straightened out over here at the Fidelity Tire, the old tire plant. I've been over there already today, talking to talk to the individual, but I have been over there looking around. And I would like to say I would like to give kudos out to Mr. Boxley and Miss I can't get a name now. I'm sorry.
And Kathleen Bond, yeah.
Ms. Barnes and their efforts on the parts of the road. I think they're doing excellent. Those two individuals, especially Mr. Box, have been very instrumental in this, and I think this is going to be a great asset to our community, not only to the community statewide and everything else. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Frazier. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your holding us accountable, because we've got to make sure that Natchez is one Natchez for all. I never heard Brian Marvel was still on the line. I was hoping he could give us a report. Brian, are you on the line? Well, with that said, we obviously have been on the phone for over an hour. We try to keep this meeting to an hour. I know Dr. Sandra Barnes, are you still on the line, Dr. Barnes?
Yes, I'm still on the line.
Dr. Barnes, I just want to refer to a conversation you and I had Friday morning, and I'm remiss in sending you information on the brownfield application, but we are very excited about what you're doing at CoLin and keeping CoLin going. And before we end this call, and I know we talked about CoLin being a partner with us and hopefully getting a job training program going, because it's just so important in our community. Dr. Barnes, we appreciate you. We'd like to hear a brief report on behalf of CoLin.
Thank you, Mayor Gibson. We've been working really hard, as probably many of you have, trying to keep our students and our employees safe. So we've been open now for about 4 weeks. We've got 25% of our students totally online, and the other 75% are doing hybrid. And so far, I think we're doing pretty good in that particular area. I do want to announce that started on September the 8th, last week, we started the Certified Nursing Assistant Workforce Training class. That class goes through November the 24th. So it's held on our campus Tuesdays and Thursdays, starting at 6:00 p.m. And we are looking forward to adding more of these type classes in the spring. And so, and I've been talking with you, talking with Alcorn, and just trying to get out more to see what kinds of other activities and partnerships that that CoLin can be a part of in the community. So thank you, Mayor Gibson, for allowing me to have this opportunity.
Dr. Barnes, we appreciate you, and thank you also for your willingness to be a guest on our COVID conference call this week. We are looking forward to hearing more about how things are going at CoLin. We applaud you on the job you've done. You've done a great job. I'm getting some text from Brian Marvel that he's having a problem with sound on the call. I think he's been trying to talk. So he has, Brian, are you still unable to talk? He's texting me right now. I'm going to provide this. He has provided a public service announcement that I'll make for him. Brian, Brian, you aren't on. You still can't talk.
Fine.
Brian,
can you hear me, Dan?
We can hear you now. Yes, Brian. We have just a couple minutes left. If you would give your report real quickly. I know you had a public service announcement to make. Brian? Well, I'm going to make the announcement for him. The 2020 Census Initiative for Natchez Adams County residents who have not completed their census. Computers will be provided to complete your census. All computers and chairs will be sanitized after each use. Please remain in your vehicle until your number is called to enter the building. Location, Adams County Safe Room. Date, September 19th, 2020. Time, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Mask face covering is required. There will be some giveaways. The higher the count, the more the resources. 10 questions, 10 minutes, 10 years of resources. So we are really encouraging people to make the most of this last 2 weeks to get the census answered and get all of your information filed. I feel like we have had more to share than we had time for. Is there anyone on the call who has anything else to add? Well, all right. We will call this meeting adjourned, but please be aware we will have a great experience with the governor and this great announcement coming up Monday at 11 at the convention center. Only 100 can attend, so please come early for that. And then after that, just know we will be back to an in-person format in our next Naedc meeting 2 weeks from today. Thanks, everyone. Have a good lunch and a good rest of the day.
Thank you, Mayor.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chesney.
Bye.
Bye-bye.